look like they're different options, but it'll just do both.
I think if you click on recording, it'll be both, yes.
Great. And I think I just did. Okay. Oh, and now it's transcribing it all in the chat. Fun. Okay. Which I need to turn off because that is way too distracting to see all my words pop up. All right. So, I think we wanted to just use this opportunity to help folks come together, see who, is all part of this AWARE team, and just kind of give sort of an overview of what Project AWARE is. Everybody is at such different levels in understanding and starting the work. So, so just to give a quick overview about Project AWARE and the goals, I thought we could do some introductions, and then our West Ed team is going to take over and talk about evaluations. And then we'll have a big chunk of time for question and answer. One second, I am just trying to make things work that were working 5 seconds ago. All right, let me project our agenda real quickly. Okay, you all see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, just do some quick introductions, do an overview of AWARE, let West Ed give us an overview of the evaluations, and then do some question and answer and talk about our next office hours. So, before we start with our introductions, I just thought it would be helpful to get sort of a view of who all is in Project AWARE. So as you hear the names and where folks are from, you can be like, oh, okay, that's that region, or that's a partner that we will probably need to access at some time. Our overall thesis for Project AWARE is really trying to bring mental health and education to the table, both at the state level and at the local level, to think about how to enhance mental health and wellness in our schools. So that's the overall crux of it. So we're doing that at the state level. So your state team is DMH and AOE. And then we have our evaluators, that's West Ed, who are helping us look through our data and our goals and make sure that we're making the impacts that we hope to. And we have our technical assistance support, and that's from UVM, our best team there, which truly are the best. And then we have our regional folks. So our education entities and our mental health entities at the different regions. So Barre Unified Union School District is working with Washington County Mental Health. Caledonia Central Supervisory Union is working with Northeast Kingdom in Human Supports. Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union is working with United Counseling Services. So those are our 3 regions. We have our state team, our evaluators, our TA, and then later on we'll introduce to you at another office hours, we'll go deeper into talking about the different partners that we have and training opportunities available to you and how we're braiding that into the work. And it's not just sort of training pieces coming in here and there, but really trying to integrate all of this into one big picture. So with that, how about we do introductions? And I don't even think I introduced myself. I'm Marianna Donnelly. I work at the Department of Mental Health. I coordinate school mental health there, and so I'm overseeing Project AWARE. And we will have a coordinator that we hire who is specifically for Project Aware, and I will oversee that position. And I will turn it over to Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Watterson. I work at the Agency of Education as the Assistant Director for the Student Support Services Division and the Vermont MTSS Program Manager. And our new Project Aware co-coordinator will be a part of the Vermont MTSS team. And that's someone that I will be supervising. So looking forward to that. We actually have interviews this week. So we're getting close.
How about if folks just pass it off to the next person?
Are we doing everyone on at the meeting?
I think so. You know what? Maybe it would be quicker if I just go through my screen, actually. I know we have limited time. So, Lindsay.
I really was like.
Hi there, I'm Lindsay. I'm with the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, and I am the coordinator here.
Thanks, Lindsay. Julie, you're next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Julie Puglisi. I'm with United Counseling Service, and I'm the Director of Clinical Quality here.
Thanks, Julie. Bob.
Hi there, Bob Wilbenhorst. I'm Clinical Manager for School-Based Services at United Counseling Services.
Thanks, Bob. Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Ferris. I'm with the Agency of Education, the Vermont Multi-Tiered System of Supports team. Worked with Tracy and several other of our team members who are here today.
Thanks. Kim.
Good morning. I'm Kim Asom. I am with the BEST Project and have been there for quite some time now. And I was a technical assistant coach for the first iteration of Project Aware. And so I'm excited to participate in this next iteration and really take advantage of lessons learned to make this a really robust experience for everyone.
Thanks, Kim. Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lallier. I'm also with the BEST Project, and I'm one of the technical assistance providers for Southeastern Vermont SU.
Thanks, Rebecca. Megan.
Good morning. I'm MJ, Jared, I, she, her pronouns, and I work alongside Tracy, Tom, and Nancy, who are on this call, as well as a colleague, Caitlin, with the Vermont Multi-Tier Systems of Support as an education program coordinator. So thanks for being here, letting me be here.
Absolutely. Thanks, MJ. Cassandra.
Good morning, everyone. Cassandra Townsend, co-director of the BEST Project at the University of Vermont, with my colleague here, Amy.
Sarah.
Good morning, everyone. Sarah Guckenberg. I'm from WestEd, and we are part of the evaluation team. Look forward to giving you a preview later.
Hannah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Sutherland. I work with Sarah at WestEd and as one of the evaluators on this grant.
Thanks, Hannah. Noreen.
Good morning. I'm Noreen Shapiro-Berry. I work for Northeast Kingdom Human Services. I'm the School-Based Services Director.
Thanks, Noreen. Amy.
I'm Amy Wheeler-Sutton, co-director of the BEST Project at UVM.
Thanks, Amy. Mark.
Hi, Mark Tucker. I'm Superintendent of Caledonia Central Supervisory Union.
Thanks, Mark. Nancy.
Hello, all. Nancy Helen, also of the Vermont Multi-Tiered System of Support Teams, and I go by she, her pronouns.
Thanks, Nancy. Sherry.
Hey, I'm Sherry Schoenberg, and I work with the BEST Project. Happy to be part of the second iteration of Project Aware, and I will be providing specific support, I hope, to Barre District.
Thanks, Sherry. Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm part of Caledonia Central Supervisory Union's team. I work in the business office.
Thanks, Ellie. And then we have somebody on by phone who I muted when you came in, so you might have to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi. Sorry, I'm between buildings. My name's Karen Fredericks. I'm a curriculum director in Barry.
Hi, Karen. Nice to have you. All right. Great. That was much more efficient than I had anticipated us being. So nicely done, folks. So you all may have seen this slide, and Tracy and I introduced this early on in Project Aware to folks, but just to give a quick overview for anybody who's not familiar with it, this is a, excuse me, a SAMHSA award. That's our Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, our federal folks. This is a 5-year grant. It's $1.8 million. Project Aware is the acronym is Advancing Wellness and Resilience in Education. And so that is what we're trying to do, is figure out how to better support our education entities and professionals so that our students and our staff and our climates are healthier places. This grant goes from, it started at the end of September of this year and will run until the end of September of 2028. This is a partnership, like I said before, with DMH and AOE, the Department of Mental Health and Agency of Education, and these are our 3 regions here lined up. These are our goals for Aware. We are looking to support our systems using our at the different tiers, using our multi-tiered systems of support to really work on collecting data, analyzing that, thinking about the needs of students, of all students, of different disaggregated populations of students, looking at how we can better have referral pathways and support systems in place to receive students that we believe need more support, and to be able to bring those supports into the school when we feel like there's more at that universal and targeted level. So these 6 bullets underneath are really where we're sort of hoping to focus, see some improvement, and focus our resources in. So increasing the mental health and co-occurring disorders among school-age youth, increasing awareness, not increasing the use. So teaching our students more about mental health needs, and supports that exist and how to support each other, increasing mental health literacy of individuals who interact with school-age youth to understand and detect the signs and symptoms. So this is about increasing the literacy of our staff, of our community, of the adults around, so that they can help us identify needs. Promoting and fostering resilience building, excuse me, and mental health well-being. So bringing those supports in to the schools, provide positive behavioral supports, targeted services to those who need more support, and intensive for those who need them. So really trying to think about what are we giving to everybody, and what are the needs of everybody that we're not addressing, and then looking at the different levels of support that's needed for different populations or individual students. Connecting school-age youth. who may have behavioral health issues, including serious social emotional disturbance or serious mental illness, and their families to needed services. So really thinking about those pathways to services and how do families and students access those services, and what barriers are in place that we're not realizing, and how can we address those? Increase and improve access to culturally relevant and developmentally appropriate trauma-informed school community-based aware activities and services. So this is where our training teams will come in, our different partners that we have, and help you all not just provide trainings to staff or to students or community members, which they have, but also to look at your data that you're analyzing and think about it with their lens of expertise. So for example, Outright or, somebody, we have NFI coming in for trauma informed, looking at your data and thinking, where can we really see how enhancing your trauma responsiveness will support students? Or where can we look at the data to see how your LGBTQ students are feeling in their climate? And so they'll help analyze those things and then talk about the programs and services that they can provide to help target those areas that you identify as needs. So that's our overall goals with AWARE. Now I was going to let Wested, Sarah, and Hannah dive into talking about evaluation and data collection. I will stop sharing. And I don't know, do I need to give you permission?
I don't know. Let me try it.
I don't
Tracy's
think
my
Teams
resident
requires
expert.
you. Yeah, I think Teams you can just share.
Great.
Okay. Are you all seeing this?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. That was easy. Okay. All right. So thanks, everybody. Again, my name is Sarah, and I'm here with Hannah, and we are co-leading the evaluation for this project. And we also did the former project AWARE in Vermont as well. So also looking forward to applying our lessons learned. We represent a team from Wested. There's 3 others working on this project that you'll meet along the way. So we look forward to introducing you to them as well. Hannah and I are both located to, just so you all are aware, I'm in Newburyport, Massachusetts. Hannah's in Western Mass, so we are not far from you all in Vermont. And just to give you a broad overview of the evaluation, so SAMHSA requires that all Project AWARE grants have an external evaluator. And again, we were privileged to be part of the first Vermont Project AWARE. So we're going to use a lot of the same approaches, some similar tools, but really look forward to collaborating with you all on this evaluation. So we really want this to be a very collaborative approach. We will be structuring ourselves so you all have a individual point of contact from our evaluation team. And we look forward to really documenting the formative part of this grant. We know it's very complex. It's a lot of systems change work. There's a lot of data involved that you already have, that you will be working with your TA providers and other partners. And we want to leverage a lot of that existing data. But we also want to work with you and just hear, how is this going? What else do you need? And we'll be that voice and be able to give that feedback back to the state, back to TA providers, and back to yourselves as well. There's 3 main components of the evaluation, and we'll talk a little bit more about these today. Again, that formative feedback piece, which we all feel is the really important piece, that continuous feedback that we can just get a pulse on how you're all doing. Again, what supports you might need, where your successes are, and how do we share those amongst each other and learn from them. There's also a performance measure piece to this. So SAMHSA does require certain measures be collected, and we'll talk a little bit about those today and about our process for how we'll go about collecting those. And then we'll document these different measures. Marianne went over the goals. So under all those goals, we have some different proposed measures of how we'll measure progress on those goals, and that will result in an outcome evaluation. Yes.
Your slides are not advancing, just so you know. They're not in presentation mode, and they're not, we're still on the first slide.
Okay, that's not good. I wonder why I'm seeing it. So when I do that, they don't move?
No.
Huh.
No, and you can either share your screen or you can share, it'll let you select through different documents or applications that are open.
All right, let me try this again. Maybe I should do that, share my entire screen. You think that would be better? Okay, do you see the slides now?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to touch anything.
I can also project them if you want.
Okay, are you seeing them moving now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Thank you for flagging that. So this slide is what I just talked through. So here's the summary. But again, those three components are that formative piece where we'll get some continuous feedback from all of you, the performance measure piece, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then at the end, we'll have an outcome evaluation that will be able to sort of document this whole journey of the Project Aware over the course of the years of the grant. These are guiding evaluation questions, and these are drafty, and these are things that we would love input on along the way, but just to sort of guide our evaluation and how we approach things, we want to be able to look at what extent did you all be able to achieve those goals that Mariana talked about. So like I said, we'll have different measures to look at that in different ways. What trainings and components were perceived as the most important to success? So I'll ask you all that a lot, like what is working well and why is it working well? What are those pieces that are really leading to that success? So you all can document this, and then as you may expand this to other areas in Vermont, quite frankly, other states are going to be interested in what you all are doing across the country. So that will be important to document. What factors of the leadership team are related to readiness and capacity to implement this? So we know you all will have a leadership team, and we'll be talking to you a lot about that. And then what components and supports of mental health staff positions, those thinking about those staff working in the schools, are related to the capacity to improve mental health supports for students. Again, these are drafty, and like I would love, as you all think about them, to get input on them. What other questions do you have that aren't reflected here? And we can work with these along the way as we go. So what can you expect from us? So as I said, Hannah and I are leading this effort, but we have a team that will be working with all of you. So we intend to have each of the LEAs will have an evaluation liaison. So you'll have a point of contact, one person, and you can always reach out to any of us to be able to reach out to for questions. We'll be your consistent person for data collection. We'll just be your go-to. And I think what worked really well in the last evaluation of Project Aware is building that relationship, really getting to know your context, what you're working with, where you're seeing successes, where your challenges are. So just being that real partner in this work. We anticipate some monthly contact with the LEA coordinator, and this is very flexible. We know schools and schedules get very flexible, but having some kind of consistent point where we can just check in with a very informal interview, talk about existing data that we may want to leverage for the evaluation, answer any questions you all have for us, and again, get any feedback from you all that we can relay to others on the team. We'll do some annual feedback in the form of informal interviews. We would love to talk to superintendents, principals, staff at the DA, and others that you might think are important for us to talk to you. So think about, this last point here, documenting your story. Who do we need to talk to hear how this is going, to document what you're doing and be able to document those successes and challenges. We'll also share ongoing findings. So part of this, we hope to collect data, collect information along the way. We also hope to share it back. So you all may want to learn from each other. These office hours will be a place to do that. There'll be other opportunities. We'll also be sharing findings with the technical assistance team and with the state team as well. So these are the SAMHSA performance measures, and we will have probably separate training just to go over these. And again, we'll work individually with you all on what these really mean and how to define them and how to track them. But we want to give you a preview because I think it is an important piece of this grant. It is one of the requirements. And we've got some good experience with this from our last go around. So we will be setting up a hopefully very seamless online system for you all to submit this data to us, likely on a monthly basis. Just for your awareness, they're not due to SAMHSA until every quarter. So we can work with you all on different timelines, but monthly seemed to work well last year or in the last grant. So I'll go through these really quick. So they collect information on training. So who's getting trained on anything related to this grant, on mental health promotion, on prevention. A lot of this data is going to come from those trainers that you all are bringing in or that are already part of the grant that you'll hear about, down the road in other office hours. But you all may, as districts, also decide to bring in someone for training or send some of your staff to training. So there will be some tracking about training, and it's just numbers, who's going. We want a sense of that reach. Partnerships, so that's something going on right now for the most part, like setting up these MOUs, these collaborative partnerships. As you all begin to think about your systems and how you're going to do this work, we know there'll be a lot of partnerships established. And again, SAMHSA is really interested in learning about those. The next three in green, I put in green because these are the key indicators that I think we'll get mostly from you all at the LEAs. These are your screenings, your referrals, and your access to services. So as you implement those universal screeners, the number of individuals screened will be something we will track. The referrals, so of those screenings, how many students were referred to services, and then of those referrals, how many students access services. Now, this is an aggregate number. We're never going to ask you for individual private confidential information. This is just aggregate data here. So again, we'll talk through this a lot more individually with you all. We know this is likely going to be set up slightly differently in different places, how you all track this data. But it's something that in the last grant, I will say, Marianne, you can chime in, but I think it was a really important indicator to show, again, that scope and reach and change in systems and how we work together. This was one way to talk about that. So that is an important 3 pieces of information. And then the knowledge gain, this is measuring individuals' knowledge, likely in those trainings where they're learning or being trained on something. Again, this will likely come from the trainers themselves. So not as much to worry about for you all here, but wanted you to see the full set of measures. So quick next steps from us. As you all get going on this grant, we look forward to just connecting with you all individually, introducing ourselves. You'll get to know your evaluation liaison as well as the whole evaluation team. We will talk much more about these performance measures as we get going and get ready to collect those on a consistent basis. And then again, we'll just keep you all up to date on the ongoing updates that we're making to the evaluation plan. I will emphasize, we really want to leverage as much existing data as you all have as possible, as much as we can. Again, on an aggregate level, we're not asking for any individual data sharing here, but I know you all collect a lot of information. We're very happy to use what you have in hand and not layer on additional data collection. Although we do have some opportunities where we can do that and might be helpful for you in your schools and your LEA. So we look forward to talking about that with you all as well. And then Hannah and my contact information. We really look forward to working with you all and getting started on this work. We'll stop sharing. Did I stop sharing?
You did. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Sarah.
Thanks for bearing with me on Teams. I'm not as familiar with it, so glad that worked.
Yeah, I think, in some of those areas you talked about the LEAs having the data, but it will really be like a collaboration between the LEA and the local mental health agency to be pulling those numbers together. And so that's where the 2 different coordinators, the coordinator for the DA or our designated mental health agency and the coordinator for the LEAs will be working together and communicating on how to get those numbers and how to develop a system where you guys can continue to track this over time and see what is happening when we make referrals, and what are the outcomes of that. So sort of thinking about a long-term picture too there. We also want to make sure that we are collecting and supporting you all in having data available for when you need to submit things around your Safe and Healthy Schools goal to AOE. I'm still not super clear about what the process is after you write your goal and that's approved. But as we're collecting all of this data and looking at it anyway, it would be great if we could just have it structured in a way that when you need it, it's done and you just pull it and it's not another thing for you to have to worry about. If we can take things off the plate for you guys, we would really love to try to do that. So any feedback or thoughts you have around that as this process unfolds, please share with us and we will we'll try to make that as seamless as possible. I think in the first time we did Project Aware, I was so new to this kind of a grant, and I had never worked with an evaluator before, and I just thought it was so cool to have this team available at the ready to just like be a thought partner with you, as Tracy calls them, and to really like sit and I just to help you look at what's going on and take a step back from the sort of anecdotal pieces that we can all really dive into, but to look at the overall picture. And also, as you're looking at it and so many questions come up, their brains are just spinning as I would shoot these things out and they'd be like, well, we could do a survey to answer that question right there. And it just became such a collaborative creative process. So you guys have that available as well. And it's really, it's a very exciting piece to me. And I'm not a data nerd at all, but I think these guys started to slant me in that direction. All right, so we wanted to take some time to give you all a chance for some Q&A. We know this grant is a lot, and it is a different way of operating, and it's a lot to digest. And like I said, everybody's at very different places with this so far, but everybody is also very much in the beginnings of this. So we welcome all questions, and I think your questions can help somebody else, so don't feel inhibited to ask. Tracy, do you want to say something?
I think it's in alignment with the data piece, though not directly connected to West Ed, but I think we forgot to say something about the state level advisory board. So I'll be real brief, and I put something in the chat. This is new to this version of Project Aware, where the expectation is that we would have a state level advisory board. So we're still working it out. It's still in development, but we anticipate having administrators and family from each of the LEAs and or DAs, however that combination comes together, as well as some external partners on this team. And the purpose for that is to give us feedback on how we're doing with the grant, like are we meeting our goals and expectations, as well as to inform us of maybe something we're missing or a direction we might want to head. So that's going to be really important. And it also includes students, but I believe we're looking at how to get student feedback separate from the adults so that perhaps they'll be more engaged and authentic and safe in their responses. So just wanted to put that out for people for information as well.
Thank you so much, Tracy. All right, so I'm going to open the floor up for questions from anyone.
Marianne, I don't have a question, but I have to let you know I got to bail out. We have interviews starting at noon for our MTSS coordinator, so I have to go get ready for that.
Ooh, we'll excuse you for that.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Thanks this morning, and think this is on my calendar for upcoming week, so I'll see you
Great.
next time. Okay,
Sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
bye.
Lindsay.
Thank you. So I know that it says we should be getting our one-on-one with WestEd. Do we know when we're going to have a person assigned to us? Do we have kind of like an approximate date of when we can expect that?
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. That's a great question. I think we're aiming for probably after getting in touch with you, maybe after. I know we're all coming up on April vacations. Is that right? And I think we're all a little bit staggered, including those of us in Massachusetts. So we were trying to line up like the different calendars. So maybe after those are done would be a good time. And I know everyone's in different places. And so definitely if you're ready, we're ready sooner rather than later. So we can touch base offline, but and set something up if you're interested in getting that on the calendar. But we were sort of thinking like end of April-ish.
Fantastic. That sounds lovely. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
I have another question. Sorry, I'm just making my note, end of April. So you said monthly reporting that SAMHSA is going to require of kind of those 6 data points. When does that kick in? Like when, I'm assuming obviously after we've done our review of data and whatnot, but is there a specific time that we should be looking at that? Or is it just kind of going with the flow with where we're at and then that date will just come?
Yeah, so that's a good question too. So, and just to clarify too, SAMHSA requires those 6 measures I put up there to be reported on a quarterly basis. They are due the month end after the quarter. So that gives you a sense of like what our timeline will be for reporting. We collected them monthly in the last Vermont Aware grant. Because we found it was very nice to have a consistent data point, like every month, just easy to go through those points. However, people did it differently. So I want to note the flexibility with this as well. Like obviously at the end of the quarter, we need to get all that data in and get it organized for SAMHSA. But if you would rather wait and you have a different way of doing this, or you would like to skip a month and do 2 months, I mean, it's all fine. We're happy to work with it, but we'll probably set up some kind of consistent way for you to do it monthly. As far as when they kick in, so technically the grant, as Mariana said, started in October 1st, essentially. So the first quarter has happened. We're in quarter 2 right now that just ended. We will be submitting some performance measure data for quarter 2, and Mariana, jump in, or Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're gonna just focus on some of those MOU partnership pieces because we know you all are working on that at the state level between LEAs and DAs. That's happening. There may be some data to support and submit there. As far as the school level data, those screenings, referrals, and access, we know that is evolving. And so that's probably going to depend on when you all are ready to start submitting that data. So we'll have that conversation in quarter 3, but nothing to worry about right now. And there may be some staggered rollout of that depending on when you're ready to submit that kind of data.
Thank you.
Sure.
Noreen, chime in.
Hi. So I'm just wondering, we haven't hired a mental health project aware consultant yet. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, I have some folks that I've kind of lined up to help in the interim, but what does that mean as far as the timeline? Is everything on pause until we hire, or do we move forward? Or I guess I'm just trying to figure all this out.
I think the plan is that we move forward and that we try to, knowing that folks' capacity is limited and that you already have full-time positions or multiple at this point, you know, trying to be forgiving of that, but also still really wanting to make sure that, you know, that NKHS or any other DA is at the table, and that that you're able to be having these conversations, and that that we can collect these pieces from both sides of each region.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward the best we can, it sounds like. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sherry, jump in.
Oh, gosh, okay. I hope I'm not stepping out of turn. But just the BEST project also are the facilitators of PBIS assessments. So for the PBIS schools, we have a wealth of data that the schools enter online about, you know, PBIS fidelity, school climate, and if they complete these surveys, we have access to that data. And this is just a wondering out loud is sort of the best way to incorporate some into the evaluation, but making sure that the schools are aware and providing permission for us to share scores like, you know, fidelity scores and self-assessment survey scores and school climate scores. I don't know if anybody here from a school would want to speak to that about sort of the best way to get your permission to use that data. But also this is a reminder to use that data in, you know, making some decisions about where to go, what to prioritize.
We were just, I welcome any school person to jump in here too, with their thoughts, but we were just having this conversation, Sherry, with WestEd around this, and talking about how do we make sure that we're very clear that that what data is being used and shared and how it's being used. And so not just the schools, I think that's an important piece too, but also the DAs, as you all are sharing your, you know, the referral pathways and how many kids were picked up, and that would be, how do we make sure that that's very clear, that as you send that over to the LEA and they send it over to WestEd, that that data is being used in aggregate form to talk about this project. So I think we're still working on developing some sort of clear, maybe another like amendment to the agreement, or another appendix on there, but something to, just a document to sort of outline what those pieces are and how we might use them. Yeah, Tracy.
I'm also wanting to tag on with Sherry. One of the things I think that's exciting about this being a potentially 5-year grant, is that there will be some consistent data that, you know, the folks at WestEd are going to need, but also there's that whole iterative process of data collection. So, you know, there's that real intensive deep dive right now as folks are writing their going through the comprehensive needs assessment process for their CIPs, but then that may surface, hey, we need to look at our system, and so we might bring in like our team to do a system screener, and that won't be like the same time period for everybody. So I like that idea of being aware what we have, but also when we think we need something, like talking to each other to say, do you have this, or we don't have that? And it'll be nice to have such a plethora of data to draw from.
This is Cassandra. Hi, everyone. And one of the roles of our TAs that will be working with all of you is helping you navigate that. So prompting data, looking at data. So there is a lot of data out there. We know many of you have already gone through the CNA CIP process. We certainly have data as well. So our TAs will be able to really help you all navigate that and prompt and really collaborate around what data you need to look at or really want to look at. So.
And Kim, I see that you also mentioned the MOU template has some pieces that speak to this as well. And that is another area that I forgot to mention that we thought about really outlining that data sharing and getting specific about what the pieces are and where that would go. So thanks for reminding me of that. Rebecca.
There may not be an answer to this yet, but I'm wondering in terms of TA support, whether some of the time we might join that monthly whether it would be a helpful thing for us to sometimes join that monthly contact meeting between the LEA coordinator and the West Ed Eval liaison. That's just a wondering that I have.
Yeah, it's a great point. And there may be opportunities for that for sure, that when it makes sense for us all to get on, just have a meeting together, and it might take care of 2 meetings that were 2 meetings and now they can be 1. I think sometimes there is value in keeping that evaluation call just with the evaluation team, just because it becomes a nice opportunity to just share, and we kind of have an ongoing protocol that we use as the evaluators, just like with some of the standard questions that we're tracking over time. But that doesn't mean that every month we need to touch on those same exact questions, as long as we have that consistent measure at least enough touch points over the course of the year. So yeah, if there's an opportunity where it makes sense for us all to get on the same page, if there's a new data source, or you're say presented with a challenge that maybe we could help supply you some of our data to help you discuss how a good way to tackle that challenge, or even highlighting some of areas of success to build off, you want to expand in scope, we're always happy to pull everybody together. So I think we can be really flexible with that. I think for us, just keeping that transparency open, so that you as the TA team always has, up-to-date information, you as the LEAs and the coordinators have up-to-date information, and then we keep some standard protocol and data collection in place, just so we have our measures over time. I think if we can accomplish all those things, however we get there, it makes the most sense in the moment, works for us. So I think it's a great suggestion.
Any other burning questions? Yeah, Julie.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the community leadership team, and if anyone already has one, who is on that, and how do we, which partners are you reaching out to be part of that, and also the size, like how many members do we need?
So I'll just give a quick little answer, and then maybe Cassandra, if you want to chime in and give your perspective, that would be great too. Or Amy, I think, it's very individualized for each region. Your district community leadership team is that partnership between the LEA and the DA. So when you all are coming together and meeting and talking about this grant, that's your core group there. And so as the work develops, you might find that when you're looking at different areas of the data, that there's a high group of kids with DCF involvement, and it makes sense to have a DCF representative at the table as well to talk about the barriers in place there, or how to enhance the systems and communication there. So over time, or it could be something about housing or food insecurity, or whatever is happening in your region and you all are seeing sort of bubble up. So that's the community part of that DCLT, the district community leadership team. And so it can develop over time, for sure, but I would say the crux of it is really the DA and the LEA coming together and making sure you have good representation there. It doesn't have to be multiple people. It's really just some people who are able to speak to the system and understand the needs, and are the leadership part is the people who are able to help make decisions, you know, write job descriptions or talk about funding structures or things like that.
Thank you, and thank you, Kim. I see your information in the chat.
I think that your folks at BEST will be really helpful in sort of tapping into how to structure that and continuing to think about who else needs to be here or how do we need to structure this in a way that it meets everybody's needs best.
Great, thank you.
I'm thinking of data again. I know some of the LEAs on this call are involved in other grants that also touch on mental health or social emotional learning. Please keep that in mind also during this discussion. I'm thinking particularly, you know, for example, if you're connected with an Act 112 grant, which is ARP ESSER funds, which will end in September, like how can you keep that work going through some of the goals of this grant? I think we might have community schools connections here, stronger connections. Stronger connections or community schools. So those would be some other ways to just help build that sustainability over time.
Okay, we have 5 minutes left. Are there any other questions folks have that you want to bring up? Okay, I'm going to start sharing again and just give you some reminders. Oh, there we go, and talk about the next office hours. So our plan is to have these office hours weekly. And you know, as time goes on and you all are become more familiar with the work and what we're doing, they may not be as necessary, and so we can phase them out some. But we just felt like in the beginning, there's just so much to tackle and really digest here that people need to talk it out and hear other people talking it out. So that is the purpose of these. We are looking for topics from folks, and we'll talk to our partners as they're talking to you all. But also, if you have things that are coming up, don't hesitate to reach out to Tracy or myself and let us know. And we can think about how to make these future topics as well. So next week, we'll talk more about budgets and opportunities in there. Some of our potential future topics that we were sort of brainstorming about was training and programmatic opportunities. So that's the different partners coming in that we have to talk about their roles and what's available. The role of the DA in AWARE, because it often can feel sort of school centered. But we really want there to be a heavy partnership there between both. So if you have ideas of things, please let us know. And burning questions, we are always here to take a call or to answer an email. So the other thing I wanted to remind folks about is the BEST Summer Institute. We have funding for you all to attend that. You're a team, your DCLT or whoever from your team, it would be the LEA and the DA present, and BEST has made a specific strand for Project Aware folks, which is really awesome. And I'll let Cassandra talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. Thanks, Mariana. Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited this year to come up with a strand that's really helpful for all of you. We know how hard it is for teams to get together. And so really thinking about the Summer Institute as an opportunity for your district level teams to get together and really think about your systems, your data, your practices, assessing really that collaboration. And so I put the title of the strand that we have for all of you and other districts and schools as well. It's called Envisioning an Interconnected Future. And the presenter is Amy Flamini. She was involved in the previous iteration. She has a clinical background, an educational background. She's a fabulous presenter. And so we're really excited to bring her to Vermont. She's from Midwest, PBIS, Illinois, I believe. And she has just a wealth of experience. And this will be an opportunity for your leadership teams to really go through a sort of the installation of what does this integration look like. And so it'll be a really great opportunity for all of you. And it's wonderful that you have funding to be able to do that. So there's also the information that Mariana linked if you want to learn more about the Summer Institute and also to register. So excited to see many of you there.
It is a pretty awesome opportunity to stop and think about this work when the crisis has calmed down and the engine is not churning so hot anymore, to be able to sit and be like, whoo, that was a year, and like, how do we reflect on that and how do we learn from that and set intentions for next year? So it's really great. And Amy Flamini, we don't have enough time for me to talk about how great I think she is and what a valuable opportunity it is. So but the link is in there for you all, and now is the time to register. So get your folks together and start talking about who makes sense to be present there. And lucky you don't have to worry about funding it. It's all there for you. So if there's not any last comments, it's 12 o'clock and I want to be respectful of all of your time. I will send out this recording and the slides to folks. And I really appreciate you giving us your time today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, all. I'll stay on with the folks who want to chat a little bit longer. And I'll stop recording.
I need to leave, Mariana.